Alright guys, it's Porn Star Yuumi here. I got a treat of a game for you today. I think it's an excellent game because it showcases how you can come back in a game when you're behind. There's also like a lot of mistakes that we made as a team, including the enemy team as well. So I believe it'll be a good learning opportunity for myself to go over this video and you guys, so that you can maybe use some of this stuff to avoid making these mistakes in your game, or also learn how to capitalize on the enemy mistakes. And just overall, it was entertaining. It was a really great comeback. I had a lot of fun playing this game, and I hope you guys had fun watching it. So to start out here, we got Trindamere, Evelyn, Oriana, Senna set. Now, this game they were running a funnel set, which is not a great matchup for us. Sets E is pretty hard for Yuumi to deal with. If you ever get off, you can easily quickly get CC'd and caught off guard. Same with his ultimate. Samira, same thing, kind of has a hard time dealing with it. If their primary damage was the range carry, then her W can kind of block some of that. But for the most part, they have a pretty good team comp. Set can take the Oriana ball, jump into the enemy team, get Senna ult across them, wombo combo. Eve can clean up the scraps, and then they have split push pressure from our Trindamere. And typically, Trindamere will win out against Maokai. It is possible that Maokai can, get some early armor, maybe a jungle gank, maybe Trindamere makes some mistakes, and Maokai can get ahead. That's not what happened this game. So this whole game, they're pretty much going to have split push Trindamere pressure, and this game showcases how you can deal with it to a certain extent, and kind of a checklist we have to go through before we get ahead of ourselves in order to avoid losing the game, because essentially once we fell majorly behind, we're just trying to catch up in gold to the point where hopefully we can win a team fight and win the game. So let's just get started here. Fast forward a bit. So fairly standard start. We're just trying to cover the one jungle entrance here. They're not being too aggressive either. So actually, I remember what happens. So we end up invading here. Once we, let me turn it to blue vision. I believe we spotted some of their team over there. Sorry, I gotta switch it to red. My apologies. Yeah, so we do see the Eve not on a red buff, and I think that's what prompts us to go for the invade here. We get a ward down, nobody sees it, and then we're just gonna wait and try. However, once we see that they're kind of tunnel visioned on this red, a lot of times the jungler's not going to smite the red. They're going to get, especially if they're getting a leash, because they don't need to. It's better to save it on like your Krug camp. And since we have vision of this and the enemy team, they don't really know about it, we decide to try and go in for a steal. So luckily, no sooner my friend here ends up picking up the red. So that's really good for us. We get to start the lane. Kha'Zix doesn't get a very good leash from us, but Evelyn is now starting without the experience. She doesn't even hit level 2. Because our Kha'Zix is kind of low, I am just going to give him a heal here. We end up losing a couple of minions, so I'm going to be a little bit behind in experience, but because Samira picked up the red experience, she should still be fine in terms of that regard. So we look here, she's already almost level 2. Senna's a little bit ahead of us because they do have the push, but overall, once the minions die, we're not going to be that far behind in experience here. So he's taking that trade even though she's level 2, mostly because of the red buff. Red buff gives you pretty good HP regen, and then of course the dot and slow that a lot of you guys are aware about. So our goal in this lane, because they have a melee carry here, Set is going to get outscaled in terms of a traditional ranged, but early on in the lane, they're going to have a lot more damage than us, so we do have to be careful about not getting caught out, because they'll probably win all-ins against us. If we look at Kha'Zix versus Evelyn, I don't know why it's not letting me click on Evelyn. That's kind of strange. Maybe because I can't see her on the map. Let me switch it back to all vision. There we go. So Kha'Zix does have a little bit of an experience advantage. She's going to pick up the Scuttle, but he's almost cleared his full jungle. Whereas Eve just has the Scuttle, the Raptor Camp, and the red. She's going to do her sweeper thing here, but they're not really going to... She's not going to see anything, because Kha'Zix already cleared that side of the jungle. Kha'Zix is going to kill his own Scuttle, and then at that point he should be about half a level up. He's going to go for the gank, but Kha'Zix is nearby. I believe the mid jungle will duo this game, so they should have pretty good synergy. Kha'Zix knows he's a level up on the Eve now, so my guess is that's why he's going for this evade, but he has to be careful because Tryndamere, let's see if we had vision of this. Tryndamere is there while his Maokai was shoved in, so Kha'Zix ends up giving first blood over, which is gonna put him a little far behind. The one thing you want to do when you're invading, I get why Kha'Zix went for the invade here. He's level 4 to E's level 3, but Tryndamere's missing, and I think if we go back here, we go back a bit. Sorry, I can't watch everything in time. Like, I mostly paid attention to my own lane. So Tryndamere had just shoved in the lane. And my guess... See recalls, and he's probably going to walk back to lane. Speed it up here. So... Check red side. Blue side, sorry. So they do spot out Kha'Zix for a brief moment, right? And Tryndamere smartly decides to go into here, into the blue buff, I guess. Just make sure that Kha'Zix isn't going to go for this blue buff. Right? And then Kha'Zix, thinking that he's level 4, decides to try and go and kill the Eve because he knows he has advantage. He doesn't have red buff. He tries to kill him, but unfortunately Tryndamere's there to pick up the kill, so it kind of all backfires. He did have a little bit of mid priority with the Rise shoving here. The wave hasn't quite hit the turret. So I think Kha'Zix should have just waited a little bit longer. I mean, mind you, the blue buff might have gotten taken by then, but it was a little risky going for that play. Now let's go back to us bottom lane here. Let's see what happens. So like I said earlier, in this matchup, you really don't want to get engaged on. He does get pulled. I use my W, but then Senna hits the root. So what Suna had to do, Suna had to flash that root or dodge it. Like, probably the angle he's on is very unlikely to dodge it. Even if he jukes down, he's going to get hit. Probably won't be able to juke up. So really his only option is to flash. And unfortunately didn't. So the worst time to die in your lane is actually as the wave is crashing, which I'm sure a lot of you guys know, but you just lose all the experience from this wave, especially since the cannon wave, he misses out on that gold as well. And that kind of puts us pretty far behind. So as you can see here, we're already a level down from the Senna. They're almost level 5, and they're halfway to 5. And, you know, Samir's only halfway to 4, so we're a complete level down. We do manage to collect some of this wave the second when they crashed. But what we do here, we know that the Set's Ignite is down. As soon as Suna gets back to lane, we do manage to do a trade kill. Set's already a little bit low. And I call for the all-in here, just because Senna's kind of low on mana, and she was a little overextended. She pushed up too far to the turret without her set, so he managed to get a good trade on her beforehand. I know it showed my exhaust as being on cooldown there, but it wasn't. So we had summoner advantage, and we decided to go in for the all-in. I am kind of baiting the set there, getting some autos off on him, and then I'll switch back to Suna, and then once I realize it's okay, I'm just going to get off and contribute autos to the fight. Kha'Zix flashes for a kill. So right now we're only 500 gold behind now instead of, you know, the 400. I believe we collect the plate here. Kha'Zix gets jumped on, but we are able to clean up the kill at least. And because we got the assist, and that ends up actually closing the gold gap a little bit, we get the extra 150 gold from there. Now, the only way we would end up beating this lane is once I get enough sustain, then we can start taking 2v2s. Otherwise, like if it's an even-on fight and we don't catch somebody like we did with the Senna ahead of time there, in this type of matchup, since they just have so much more damage and all-in potential and CC than us, we have to try and find ways to prolong the fights, whether that's, you know, trading them a little bit beforehand, disengaging, poking them down, and then going in for the all-in. But if we just go on a straight up all-in on equal footing, they're going to out-damage us versus CCS. I don't really have the tools to deal with it. Unfortunately, Samir this game also took heal. So we're missing the extra safety from the barrier or the extra damage from an Ignite that we could use to help, you know, reduce their healing on their side. So that's what kind of puts us at a disadvantage in this lane as well. It might have been a little bit easier for us. But in general, we need some items on the Samira, and I need some cooldown reductions so that I can heal frequently enough to keep her alive so that she actually can get her ulti off and we can win the 2v2. Otherwise, we're just going to die. So this is a very greedy recall. He's recalling Envision. He shouldn't be doing this. I tell my buddy to do this all the time. He just recalls and either gets his recalls interrupted rather than just taking the extra second back at the tower here. Because if you back Envision, you're letting them know that you're backing, which they can use that information to do a number of things. One, they can easily interrupt your recall, making you waste time. They could go for a dragon because they know that we're not going to be in a position to contest it. They could like use that opportunity to go and get deep vision, whatever. The main point is that depending on the scenario, if you're giving them vision, you're taking all the pressure that you have off the map. Whereas if we kind of, you know, walk up this way, recall here, let's say, they don't know whether we're maybe pathing towards mid or whatever, or they know how they want to manipulate the wave, so they can crash the wave freely and we won't be able to collect it, so we lose that gold. So if you recall at a vision, if the enemy shoves it, you can, you know, clean up the wave if it's safe for you to do so. Otherwise, like, you know, maybe they can set up a freeze, bounce the wave and set up a freeze. There's a whole bunch of different things they can do just by you giving that information and recalling Envision. So you shouldn't do that. It's so much more valuable to, you know, recall out of vision than it is to recall Envision, just because it saves you a couple seconds. And I believe he does get caught here and die. Or I guess we barely made it out, but they shoved the wave in, so we get denied this. And now they know that they can have free reign over our jungle because they know we just recalled. So this is going to help put Kha'Zix behind here. Let me change back to our vision. So all. So they take over our jungle. Kha'Zix is going to lose his Grump. Luckily, Kha'Zix is already on the other side of the map, so it's going to be kind of a split map situation here. But yeah, so this whole time they've been running as a 3-man. We get back to push the wave here, and we're probably going to get ganked. We get charmed. I don't believe we have summoners. I have to just leave him because he's 100% dead. Let's change it to red vision here. So I'm assuming that they're going for dragon. So I do collect a little bit of gold and experience here. I have a pink here just in case Eve decides to go for a tower flank behind the wall. If I put it here, while it can provide value if she comes from that gank path, the scariest gank path for them to come from is actually behind here, like a 3-man collapse and pincer move dive. We can put it here as well with their second pink. The issue is this one's really difficult for us to defend. It can consistently die. Because, you know, they have the pressure in this matchup at the moment. They have most of the kill potential on us. So if we try to defend it, we can easily find ourselves in an all-in that I talked about that we should avoid from earlier. Looks like they're going to go in on this Tryndamere, but Eve happens to be there, and you know, we end up losing no one actually. We got the Eve shut down, so that's really good, even with the Sun ulti. So, oh, what happened down here? Fortunately, the practice too often glitches out. Okay, so Set walks up with a Z. They know that our jungle's topside, so what they're doing, they're saying is, hey, we can win the all-in. We're gonna, you know, all-in here because we know Kha'Zix is on the top side of the map. Because he was just showed top one for that gank, right? So, wanted here. I want to know if there's a way we can get out of this. Let's see here. So he hits us with the cut the slow. That gives him the ability. I try ulting. Suna dashes in, which I don't think he should have done. But I get we were trying to burst down the Senna. So that was a mistake. I want to see, does he have the ability to dash out here? Not really. There's no minion. The only thing I could think that maybe we could have done here is if I like hopped up a little bit, which would create a little bit of space, and then he eased to me, that would create an opportunity, because Samira's E always goes to fixed distance. So even if I'm only like slightly behind him, as long as like he's Eing in that direction, so say like, let me go back again here. It's a cool thing you can actually do with Samira Yuumi. So if I hop off here, I'm saying like a lot, sorry. If I hop here, so that I'm just a few pixels ahead of her, and then she E's to me, she'll go like the full distance, she'll end up like here. And then I can immediately W back to her and we can disengage this fight. Instead we go in a fight that we can't win and we lose it. So at this point, we're almost down 2k. They're going to collect some plates and probably extend that lead to 2k. Maybe more. So we do get a pretty good trade on Set. He misses his W. And then I think I call, let's go for the fight, because Set has no W. But they managed to disengage with the Set E. So unfortunately gets caught by Set W again. He has to force to use his flash. So the whole Set Cutlass into pull into Senna W is a really strong engage combo, especially on our lane. If I was like kind of a CC support, or maybe like a Nautilus, I could like, you know, CC the Set or maybe the Senna when they try to go in, stuff their engage a little bit. But other than healing Samira out of the way, there's not too much I can do. So we are going to lose the turret here. They win a fight topside. So now Trinimir's got a huge lead. He's, I believe, at least a level up on Maokai. Let me see here. Dead, I can't look at it yet. Trinimir, level 10, 401. We're now down close to, yeah, 4,000, down 4,000 gold now at 12 minutes, which is a pretty substantial lead, especially in this elo. Level 9. I think at like 15 minutes we get some surrender votes, but once we hit no, luckily our mid jungle duo, they decided not, nobody on the team gave up. Like once people realized we wanted to play out the game, we just played it out with no regrets. So that was nice. My thought process is here, let's just, you know, clear out some vision, make sure our jungle isn't taken over. Help my Kha'Zix out. I jump on him, I heal him. I auto, go back onto him. Unfortunately, this Senna does not die, barely. Actually, she did, sorry, to the Maokai. But Maokai's caught overextended here now. And we managed to disengage with the whole time here. We're kind of just went equal in a fight. And Training Bear's getting free hits on the top side. I go in here. I should have exhausted this Evelyn, but like, look at this damage. I did not expect it to quite be this big. Maokai, my thought process, I guess he's low. I was kind of dumb, but I don't know. I did a lot more damage than I thought it would. I guess I should have respected the beggar she's fed. Ori lands the QW. So we overchased there on that play to try and kill Eve, and now we're really far behind. We're almost 7,000 gold behind at 14 minutes. So that was a disaster. Tryndamere got more towers pressure, and this game's looking pretty doomed at 14 minutes. So the main thing we want to look here for in the back of the game is we want to look for picks. Right, we're not going to win a 5-on-5 team fight at this point, so we want to look for picks, and specifically the champions that have the bonus gold bounties on them. That's the best chance for us to get back in the game in terms of gold, and then also typically the champions with the shutdowns are going to be the champions that are exerting the most pressure on the map as well. Like in Trainer's case, if we get rid of him, you know, we don't have to worry about the split push pressure anymore. We can, you know, maybe get some vision on the objectives finally. And we're just trying to slow down the pace of the game at this point. You know, everybody's behind pretty much. You know, we're behind in experience. Mid is down a level. Jungle's down 2 levels. I'm assuming top is down 1 or 2 levels as well. I can't see its level yet. Only 1. But Maokai's not even close to 11, whereas I wouldn't be surprised if Tryndamere's hitting 12 soon. About 11.5, so about a level and a half ahead. We're down 2 Drakes to 0. It's I forget what soul it is here. Doesn't show yet on this thing, I don't think. We'll find out in a second. We managed to get a couple of kills, catch back up here. I believe the surrender might have came in just right before that. We go bottom. We're going to try to help this Maokai out. He flashes away. Good flash there. We end up picking the kill from the Ori. So we got these shutdowns, so we're starting to funnel gold onto our carries and delay the game, because if they're dead, they're not pushing our lanes. We can take a little bit of a breather. But I believe we overstay here. Yeah, we get flanked by Tryndamere. So the mistake we make here is after we get those picks, I don't think we had vision of their team. So a common mistake I do see when you are coming back in the game is a lot of times is, hey, we killed some people, we can relax, right? Like you kind of turn off your brain for a second, and somebody immediately gets caught afterwards once something starts to look good for your team. You don't have like the proper vision. You maybe overextend, push a little bit too much. You're like, hey, we killed this guy. It's safe for us to push. And then you forget about the rest of the team members in the game, especially when that team member is an invisible one. Tryndamere himself is a very fast champion, especially with the Essence Reaver build, which is standard now. Just gets so much CDR. He can just spam his E around the map. It costs no mana. He can rotate from lane to lane very quickly. So we end up getting collapsed here and then feeding over 2 more kills. So pretty much all the gold and pressure advantage we got back, we just throw it away. This is likely going to lead... nope, there's no wave. So they're not going to take this turret quite yet. They might rotate back to it with this wave crashing. But they decide not to. They're looking to push mid, finish off this tower. Taking this mid tower allows them to shove the wave in a little bit farther, get more priority in the mid lane. If we're ever in a scenario when we're trying to, you know, play around Dragon here, because we don't want to give them soul point, they can shove this wave into the turret. Even if we go for the Dragon, they can take this turret and then, you know, especially with the Tryndamere and their composition, Senna auto Q combos on the turret. They can kill the turrets relatively fast, and then we could quickly find ourselves down a mid lane inhibitor. So Maokai is gonna, I believe, let me see here. Samira is not here on the map. Maokai goes for a TP flank. I think it's a little ambitious considering the turret just died. We're not really in position to win this fight. We're still down a lot of gold. Samir is going bot lane to catch the wave there. So I don't... This is not a good TP. So if you are a top laner and you're going for a flank, you got to really be sure that you're going to have the numbers advantage. Unless you're like really close in gold, or you can really get onto those key targets and assassinate them right away, chances are you're just going to int your life away. Which is exactly what happened. So now they're going to take over our jungle. Tryndamere does overextend a little bit, forced to blow his flash, and because of that, Kha'Zix thinks that he can kill him because he's like, oh, why would Tryndamere flash if, you know, he has his ultimate, he can just ulti and then E-spin out. So turns out Tryndamere flash because his ulti is literally just seconds away from coming out. So what happens is Kha'Zix jumps in here, gets CC'd, set ulted. Tryndamere himself, you know, has his ultimate up. They're going to kill us again. And at this point, the gold lead's even bigger than before. It's 10,000 gold at 17 minutes. So they're continuing to build on their advantage here. Luckily for us, the Baron is not up because it's so early on in the game. So they're just going to get the Rift Herald. They're going to take the mid turret, which, like I said earlier, it's going to give them the advantage of control over mid priority. Translate that into getting soul point. Which is ultimately going to make the game very, very difficult for us. I believe it is a mountain soulless game. Now the one caveat with Mountain Soul, which does help us out a little bit, is that nobody on their team is a tank. Even the set, while he's a little bit tankier, he's kind of a bruiser. He's not building tank. So other than that, most of the champions on the enemy team are squishy. The HP is going to help reduce our chances to assassinate them a little bit, but other than the Kha'Zix, that's not really what our comp is about. It's about front-to-back team fighting with the Maokai, kiting up with the Samira and the Rise, and then having Kha'Zix pick up the scraggly members. So it's not the end of the world for us. But Mountain Soul on ourselves is quite a bit better. It reduces the chance that Eve can come in and assassinate Samira, our main carry threat, or our Rise. It's going to make Maokai quite a bit tankier. So the Soul is a lot better for us than it is for them, but obviously we're 2 Drakes down, we don't really have a chance, but thankfully it wasn't like an Ocean Soul. Even a Cloud Soul might be really bad because it basically just gives Tryndamere so much move speed we could never catch him. He'd be able to chase us down at insane speeds with his ultimate. You know, Eve would be able to pull off more executions having that ult CDR, send a cross map play, so I think Cloud Soul is better for the comp than Mountain in this case. Let me see what happens here. Maokai, a little overextended, but he does bait them in for a Samira. The Maokai W into the Samira passive allows us to pick up a free kill in the set, and that's a pretty big shutdown, so that's really good for us. He's going to go in for some poke damage. Can't land the charm, thankfully. We do have our flash up on our Samira, I believe, if the replay thing is not fucking me over. Kha'Zix ends up going for a pick here. Rise starts his ulti but decides to advise against it. So right now we're under split push pressure. Tryndamere is going to look for the top lane turret. It's basically trying to make hard lane decisions for us. I believe we decided to make the call to go for the dragon just because we don't want them to get soul point. Top lane inhibitor is one of the better ones to give, at least if Elder is not up, because you're closer to the Baron, so you can easily have your whole team just shove out the top wave and then, you know, contest the Baron through the top side. It will give them a little bit of pressure for soul point later on in the game, but it's not as big of a deal as giving the Baron buff at their point, because like I said earlier, the Mountain Soul's not that great for their team composition. Luckily, we do secure the dragon. Even though they get a relatively good engage on our rise here. Let's see what happens here. So Ori does a nice flash shockwave. It's followed up by Eve combo. And they end up killing off our rise. I could have maybe jumped onto him, but I decided to peel for my duo instead. And I believe we are able to clean this up. He gets his ulti back, we take down that kill. Training crashes the Rift Herald, but thankfully it's not quite enough to kill the turret. Maokai did a good job of not overcommitting, just doing just enough to stall the Training here. Training is likely going to kill a couple minions in our jungle now. Sorry, jungle camps. We do know that he's doing this because he's spotted on the wards, so we take a fight bottom lane. Unfortunately, I think we lose it. Now, if I was the enemy team, I would go for Baron at this point. I don't know if that's what they do. I don't really remember. But they killed 2 of us bot lane. Not necessarily like full commit to the Baron because, you know, Kha'Zix could go for a steal. And they're, I mean, Set already uses ultimate. Otherwise, they could potentially Set out of the, sorry, the Kha'Zix out of the pit if he tries to contest it. But I believe they just reset. They should at least use the opportunity to get vision on the Baron, in my opinion, for the blue team. So I think that's a bit of a mistake. They could put us in a point where we're fairly pressured. I mean, at the current point, we don't have any vision ourselves. But if they kind of sweep it out, confirm that, then they can start up the Baron and bait us in, or just get a free Baron. One of the two. So I'm going to look to get some vision in our jungle, just so we can kind of track the Trinimir's rotations a little better. It's kind of safe. It's not safe for me to deep board, especially being a Yuumi. So our main goal at this point, still around 10k gold behind, but the later and later the game gets into the game, the gold's not as significant. Like I said, we do outscale as long as we can survive their initial kind of dive on us. We do have more DPS in a team fight, and we got a little bit more tankiness than them. If we can kite out the fights, we will win them. The issue is we have to make sure Trinimir doesn't one-shot the Samira or the Orianna Eve combo, stuff like that. So it's going to be really important to either flash us engages or cleanse the appropriate CC. Make sure we're not getting focused by too many targets at once, because at this point, Samira doesn't have any lifesteal herself yet. She is going to get picked by the Eve mid lane. And Maokai throws down an ult here, trying to disengage. So this is looking pretty bad for us. I do get a good ult angle, which stops him from following up on this Trinimir and causes him to overextend. He gets rooted down, and we end up getting a shutdown on the Kha'Zix. So this is what I mean. Even though we're majorly behind, Ryze is the champion. If he's allowed to freely pump out damage, combined with the Kha'Zix W slows, we can kite them out. So I'll go back to that ult here again. Just to show you, like, one of the main things you can use as Yuumi is not always necessarily going for like the maximum damage with it, but you can use it as a zoning tool too, so that the other members, so like if one member overdives, you root him up, and the other members don't want to get rid of themselves, so they kind of just leave him out to dry. Let's see that again. So I'm on our Kha'Zix just for a flank angle here. My Samir is already dead. Kha'Zix himself, if I leave him by himself and he goes in for this flank, he'll probably just get caught out and die. We're so far behind. The main thing I want is them to be distracted by the Maokai, dive him, and then Ryze can add in damage, and then us flanking kind of protects the Ryze in a way, because they're not sure what to do, right? Some of the members are going to want to deal with the flank of their team, and some of them are going to want to commit to the Ryze and the Maokai, so it just causes like confusion in the enemy. So Kha'Zix does jump over to try and peel here. Tryndamere instantly goes for the Kha'Zix. If I'm not on this Kha'Zix, and I'm on, say, this Ryze instead, Ryze isn't there yet, what happens is that this Kazakh likely just dies. He gets chased down. But luckily, I root here. So none of the members, Sen is too far away to hit the Kazakhs. This ulti is also going to prevent these two members from collapsing. So unless the set decides to go in and kill the Maokai, it's going to protect the Maokai as well. So I get the root here. They're taking turret shots the whole time. Sen and Eve can't commit. Trinimir's like, oh shit, I'm overextended. Tries to get out, but he gets rooted up. And then by the time he goes over, his ulti's down. Kazakh gets the free kill with his W. I managed to jump back onto Maokai, help heal him up, keep him alive. But now at this point, he's resetting. I'm going to hop onto the Rise. Just because he's currently the strongest member on the map. Kazakh is ahead. We're looking for an engage here. Can't find anything. Rise this ulti in. And I believe we can get a pick on this Eve. Kazakh unfortunately dies. Now it's just about keeping the carry alive. Samir's picking up experience on the top lane just to make sure the wave doesn't crash and they can't, finish off this weak tower. Trying to pick up the blue buff, but unfortunately they have control over our map. They have some wards there. So we have closed the gap a little bit. Sure, it's still 9k, which is still a very substantial gold lead, but it was 10k earlier on in the game, and as people start to complete items, you have the damage so that you can actually get picks. Like, even if you're significantly behind in gold and can't win a straight-up team fight, at least if you catch somebody off guard, especially when the enemy team is on all tanks, you can kill them fast enough that you don't have to overextend and waste too many resources. So, as you can see here, Rise, even though he is, I believe, would be behind the Orianna in gold, not by too much because he does have a pretty substantial CS lead. When he gets jumped on by Eve, he is able to root her, disengage, fall another route. Kazakhs is distracting them. They're going to be chasing the Kazakhs the whole time that, the Rise is doing damage on them. Kazakhs notices as soon as they switch targets, this is when you can go back in. Kazakhs picks up the Eve. Eve forced to ulti. Trinimir. Sorry, that's not Trinimir. It's just another Chad champion set. I believe we see Trinimir on the bottom side of the map. Chasing Samira. Yep, he's on the turret. So what we're saying here is we need gold. We can lose our turrets. The turrets will give them a little bit of gold. Sure, we're going to get shoved in even farther. But what we're going for is the shutdown on the set. And hopefully, if we can win a team fight hard enough, we can chain it up to a Baron, which is going to be substantially worth more than this turret. Even if we lose the bottom inhibitor, at that point, the whole reason we don't want to lose the bottom inhibitor is so that we don't lose Baron. So we clean up this fight pretty handily. And I'm assuming I'm going to make the ping on the Baron. Or somebody does. Maybe I just shut it in chat to my duo. We pick up the Baron. Trinimir gets that turret, but they can't really do much here. Trinimir fails his E. Unfortunately, we don't quite kill him. Kazakhs, I did make a little bit of a mistake here. I reset because I was just scared. I didn't want to die and get caught out. We just got the Baron. That type of shit happens too often. Kazakhs apparently made a call I didn't really pay attention to, that Trinimir was going to be in the buff here. I mean, how are we supposed to know Trinimir fails his E? If he didn't fail his E, even if I'm there, I don't think we get the kill. Maybe we could have killed him with my Q. I don't have ulti, so maybe we could chase him down. But even then, our main goal, in my opinion, even though I think I should have listened to the Kazakhs, is to just reset, spend our gold from Baron, try to regroup here. And in this current game state, we're unlikely to be able to actually push too many turrets or objectives. So really this Baron just is allowing us to catch up in the game in gold. So you can see that the gold's only 5.6k now. Not too significant at this point in the game. Still enough that would probably lose a straight up equal 5-on-5 team fight. Although we do have the team fight comp advantage. Trainers just kind of want to keep splitting. So ultimately, we're just looking to collect minion waves now. And this Baron's going to stall out the enemy from getting it so that they can't close out the game and take all our inhibitors, and we're under too much pressure, split push pressure, and we just lose. So I think if we, you know, lose the bottom inhibitor, they probably just get every Baron from then on out, then take the top line inhibitor, and it's just too much to deal with the training mirror. Our waves are crashing. It's like they have a 6th man on their team. So I'm trying to tell my duo and stuff that, hey, don't shove out the waves for too long. I want to stay grouped. This is how they win the game, is they pick us off with their Evelyn and their Orianna. I'm pretty confident we can win a fight if we're all 5 grouped at this point, so I'd make the call to regroup with the team. That wave will shove out on its own eventually. We see training mirror top, so we're going to make a hard push mid. We actually go for the dive here. So it's just about being decisive when you don't see the training mirror there. Just dive them. Maokai kind of goes for a little flash engage. I'm trying to make the call now that we should be careful. We should back off. We got to deal with the split push pressure from the training mirror. We don't want to give an inhibitor for free. And if we happen to lose that fight mid, then we're just going to lose the game. Luckily we managed to get out. Kill the training mirror. We only trade our 80 carries life for that, but probably worth it. Our Rise is a pretty strong carry threat as well, and at least we don't have to deal with the split push pressure of the training mirror anymore. Okay, gets caught out, but he's pretty tanky. Rise manages to pick up a trade kill. Sorry, not a trade kill. I do my ulti here. Unfortunately, Rise gets Orianna ulti. Didn't have its flash, but we're just looking to chase them down. They've exhausted their Orianna ult, their Eve ult, their Set ult. All they have is Sun ult now.
You're talking really fast. You're talking really, really fast.
I get that.
People won't be able to understand you.
So here we're just looking to deal with the training mirror split push pressure. Do manage to catch him. So our main goal at this point, we're feeling pretty confident in winning team fights now. We're just trying to, you know, make sure that training mirror can't break the base. Oh, what do we do here? I missed something in this point of the game. Yes, okay, here it is. So I make the call that, you know, we shouldn't be fighting for this mountain soul. If we fight for this mountain soul, training mirror breaks our base. If we happen to lose the fight, then what happens is, like, the training mirror will just end the game immediately, right? So giving the mountain soul, I make the call. We're still pretty confident in fights, and that if anything, we should pick the training mirror and then force a 4v5 at Baron once the split push pressure is dealt with, and we're not just going to lose the game off that. So we pick the training mirror, give the mountain soul, Like I said earlier, it's not that big of a deal for our composition versus theirs. Baron spawning soon. I think that's what we do. Maybe we don't trade it for the Baron. I think it eventually leads to that. But yeah, it's still... We could potentially lose the game off contesting that Mountain Soul, especially not having vision. So we decided not to go for it. Oh yeah, this is how it happens. We see Eve go for the inhibitor. Maokai manages to lock her down. We pick up the free kill on her. We see that Tryndamere is bot lane. The wave's not in a dangerous position for us, so now we make the call to push on the Baron. So ultimately that kill on the Tryndamere, you know, Eve shouldn't have went for that inhibitor play, honestly, but she did. And this leads to us the Baron. And then I make the call, let's turn on them if they come. We pick up some more kills. They don't have their jungler to try and go for the steal. And then we're going to be able to easily clean up this fight here. So me, I'm just doing my job to keep as many people alive as possible when, you know, Tryndamere dives in here. And at this point, we've killed everybody except for Evelyn. So we're just going to reset, deal with these waves. Since it's only Eve, and Samira's at a pretty strong point now with Phantom Dancer and Vamp, we're not scared of the Eve. I think she's going to recall him by Death Dance, make her even harder to kill, yep. So luckily I was able to keep everyone alive just barely in that fight. I buy AP potion here, just I want as much mana as possible. I've been getting most of the blue buffs this game. Ryze doesn't really have mana issues. He's already, I believe it would be max CDR. Can't really see it on here. No, he's only 30%. Okay, whatever, still. I still ask for it, just so I can permanently heal people. So I think it's more important. Keep everybody alive. Pretty confident the Ryze can at least deal with the Tryndamere now, at least slow him down. We get another pick on Eve here. I mean, on Eve late game, I don't think you should be sending her to clear the waves. That gets rid of all the pressure that she has in terms of being an invisible champion. If anything, you should send Set to clear that, and then, you know, we still have to be hesitant about jumping onto the Set because we're not sure where the Eve is. Instead, we see exactly where both of them are. I make the call, let's engage this. Get a pick with my ulti, we kill both of them, and Ryze is still covering the backdoor opportunity from the Tryndamere. Dive and get another kill here, and then it's just about chasing everybody else down with their speed, kill everybody. It's only Tryndamere. We got a wave here, we got Baron buff, we're just going to push through and end the game. And that's it.